guys, so we're back on here with another episode of Indigo Podcast, and today I'll be talking about some tips on how to develop a better mindset, and also I got a Q&A at the end. We on Q&A number 4, so pretty much, the mind obviously controls everything, your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately the outcome of your life. And I really think if you adopt a poor mindset and you think you're inferior to others, and you think that everybody's out to get you and things like that, and everything's so bad and everything's gonna turn out not in your favor, it's just gonna bleed out into everyone else you deal with and anything else you deal with. And if you think negative, you're just gonna act negative, and you're gonna carry that negativity throughout your whole life. And obviously there'll be moments where you're conflicted, and you might be obviously you have the right to be frustrated and angry and upset, but it's just not staying there, because you have the choice to stay there. And obviously it's good to embrace those thoughts for the time being, but if you just stay there and let that be your whole demeanor and whole character, that's where things become an issue. Anyway, first thing I'm gonna talk about: be mindful of the content you take in. This includes music, TV, especially the news, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, anything. So, I mean, everybody knows you can be on the wrong side of TikTok or the wrong side of YouTube, especially Twitter. Twitter be getting hectic, but just being mindful of what you're consuming, because I feel like if you consume too much of negativity on the internet, you'll become it. Because obviously you can't control everything you see. Because let's say, let's say your For You page on TikTok, that will recommend what you normally watch. So if you see negative stuff on your For You page, you probably watch a lot of negative stuff. But I'm just saying, let's say let's just say, I'm gonna give you a scenario. You're in the kitchen and you're washing dishes, and you glance up and the TV's on. Your grandma turned the TV on, and you see blah 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 dies at 55. You can't control that because you're not the one who put the TV on. You can't really control that because you were just washing the dishes and you glanced up. So certain things are just gonna pop up in your face, and you're like, dang. And you just kind of have to be like, all right, that sucks, and maybe think about it for a little bit and reflect on that. But you can't let that bring your mood down the whole day. Obviously it might, but you can't let that dictate how you act and just make you down. And just, obviously, I'm not saying to hide your feelings, obviously, but it's just, don't let that have you down for the rest of your life. Like, dang, I'm still stuck on that, but obviously, like I said, with the For You page, that recommends what you watch. Same thing with YouTube recommended, YouTube short, any type of social media. The algorithm recommends what you watch and what you click. So, you'll see, for example, this is a little bit off topic, but it kind of goes into this. Let's say, because I don't know, I low-key think our phones be listening to us. Because, let's say I say, I want to go get some bananas. Then a banana ad pop up. Or I want to go to Kroger. A Kroger ad pops up. So the whole algorithm is built in to show you what you like. So if you like negative stuff and drama, it's going to show you that, and you're going to probably feed into it because you'll probably scroll. So just be mindful. Obviously, I think better outlets are like podcasts and audiobooks. And, you can go to Spotify if you want to listen to podcasts, or YouTube. Obviously, not all podcasts, audiobooks are positive. I'm just saying overall, at least the ones I listen to, they're about self-help, self-development, being the best version of yourself you can. So, just be mindful and be wary of what you take in, because that, just like anything, that can compound, and you might not even know it, but it might be the reason that you might look at things negatively when you could be looking at it more positive. But other than that, the next thing I got: adjust your circle. This might sound cheesy and corny, watch who you be around, whoop whoop. It's true though. Because if you hear, oh, I can't do this, so and so said this, oh, so and so ugly, you probably will start talking like that, and you'll probably start feeding into that. I think certain people can, because I feel like if you're a leader, that doesn't phase you. You'll hear it and you just be like, whatever. And I feel like that can kind of test you in a way. You have your mindset, and then there's people saying what you don't do. I feel like it's kind of anyway. The main thing is, when you're around a big crowd, let's say, a good example is a riot. Like if there's people like mosh pitting and rioting, a lot of people are likely to join that. It's just, I mean, same thing with your circle. I mean, people are being negative. People are talking down on people, gossiping. You'll most likely the person around that will probably feed into that and blend in with that crowd. But it can obviously be ignored, but to a certain point, if that's all you hear, I feel like most people just gravitate towards that and then go down that road. But just make sure you know who you're around, and make sure these are like-minded people that are on the same journey. Obviously people have different journeys and you'll meet people on different journeys, but make sure you understand them, you trust them, and they trust you, and they trust that you'll be the best version of yourself, and they'll push you to be better. But the next thing, flip the switch. And by flip the switch, I mean flip the negative thoughts when they come in. I'm not saying like, when they come in, just disregard, like you gotta go away. I really think the main thing, in my opinion, you have to acknowledge those thoughts, because there might be an underlying problem that you haven't gotten to yet, because there's a lot of underlying problems I probably haven't gotten to yet, and there will always be underlying problems, because I think you can always fix something. But it's just easy to think of the worst and just dwell on things, and just really soak yourself in the negative thoughts. But I think if you just let them fly through and fly in, and then you think of something to flip it, like let's say oh my gosh, like let me think of just a bad scenario. Let's say your mom told you to go take out the trash. You're like, bro, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm playing the game, I don't want to do this. But I mean, if you think about it, like maybe like you could think of, I gotta take the trash out, but maybe I get some fresh air. Or for me, I get some more steps in, I'm more active, and then maybe the house is cleaner. So you could think of things like that flip it, and you're like, okay. And you just say, like, you think about it, you're just like, all right, I'll take out the trash, like, cool. Like, like just thinking of just little things that are like, maybe like one thing I think about a lot. Oh, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. Like, I think a lot about that a lot when I run. Because, sometimes when people, they're doing hard, like they're lifting, they're running, or they're exercising in general, or training, stuff gonna hit the fan. Stuff gonna get hard. I mean, that's the point of it. It's supposed to get difficult. You just think of, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. It's a privilege to do this right now. I don't have to do this. But just thinking of like, I get to do this. Being just being grateful for where you're at and things you get to do. Because a lot of things, it might sound cheesy, but a lot of things that we do, people can't do in other regions of the world. So just flip the switch. Think of what's the best that could happen rather than the worst that could happen. This is a dude named Matt Choi. He said that on a podcast. It really stuck with me. So I'm like, why would you always think of what's the worst that could happen? Just think of the best that could happen. Like, think of the best scenario possible out of any situation. So thinking, what's oh my gosh, like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if I don't? What if I fail? Just think of how you can control that to the best of your ability and make it the most positive, But flip the switch. That's what I meant by that. But next thing, do hard things. Adversity is a part of life. Like, just even voluntary and involuntary. Like voluntary, that's like you going to go for a run, you doing a tempo workout, you doing a track workout, blah, blah, blah. Just any type of training. I think when I think of voluntary adversity, I think of training, cold showers, cold exposure, just anything that you put yourself, like you plan it out and you put yourself in that predicament. But involuntary, let's say your dog dies, or maybe someone in your family dies, or maybe, like I said, your mom tells you to take out the trash, or maybe you have a big assignment due. You couldn't control that. You didn't put that in place for you. Someone else or something just occurred, and that's just what it is. So I just think being able to learn how to adapt to both. I mean, voluntary is obviously easier because you kind of know the outcome because you put yourself in that predicament. When it's involuntary, you didn't choose to do that, or that you just had no control over it. It's hard, I think, because I think it was Nick Bear's Instagram or whatever. I've mentioned him before. He was saying, and I agree with this, you don't really see who's strong when, he didn't say this verbatim, but it was along the lines. You don't really see who's strong when you do voluntary adversity. You see who's strong when adversity is involuntary, like when it's not controlled. And I agree. I'm really starting to see that too, and I think y'all can too. I really think you really see who you are when stuff hits the fan and you don't even know what's about to happen. And I want to work on that, and I'm always gonna work on that too. And I think y'all should too. But just holding your character and not breaking when stuff you didn't control like just hits the fan. Because I mean, it's really easy to not break when you chose to do it, but when someone or something happens out of the blue and it sucks, I mean, are you gonna change how you act or not? And I'm trying to work on that too. Because voluntary adversity is very simple in my opinion, but involuntary, that's when it gets complicated. And it's like, okay, I'm testing your character. Are you gonna break or not? And then another thing too, he said, he's like, change breaks the brittle. Like, are you brittle or are you strong? Are you durable or not? So you'll really see that when the adversity is involuntary. But in terms of hard things, hard is obviously relative. Like, maybe going for a 1 mile run or a 1 mile walk is hard for one person. Maybe riding a bike is harder for one person. Maybe playing basketball is hard. Hard is relative, and your job is to find what's difficult for me. Because, like I just said, hard is relative, so it varies from person to person. So your job is to find, okay, what scares me, what's difficult to me, and what am I really passionate about, and what do I really want to get out of life, and is that difficult? Because I feel like if it's difficult, I'm not saying complicated. I think most things that are difficult are simple. It's just that the consistency and intentionality required to do that makes it difficult. But just finding what what might scare you in life, like doing an ultra marathon and marathon is a pretty scary thing for a lot of people. And just doing that, you learn a lot, and it builds resilience, and it builds your character and your grit, and just it helps you when that involuntary adversity hits, because you already know what to do. You know how to react to it. You know how to hold your character. You know how to hold the standard, and you know how to keep showing up for yourself. So that's why you should do hard things. Because let's say you go for a hard run, a hard tempo workout, and you're in your head and you flip the switch, and you thinking of positive, staying in it, staying in the miles or whatever. When, let's say, someone in your family dies, it's not the exact same, but you'd probably be able to handle it better because you already know how to. You've already exposed yourself to something similar to that before. Obviously, someone dying, that's not the exact same as going for a hard run, obviously, but it's just your mindset around it and the way you think of things would make it easier to grasp and make the grief a little bit easier. Obviously, grief is hard, but I don't know. That's just a parallel I thought of. But anyway, do hard things. I think this is very important. But the next thing, think of long term. So this kind of goes with procrastination, and I obviously dealt with procrastination a lot. Like in KVA, if you're in Katy, COVID hit. There's KVA, and you had to do online school. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be dead honest. I would flip my screen to the sky. I hop on GTA, and I just play, and I'd act like I would just procrastinate and do my assignments last minute. That's when my grades were trash. I was planning to fail. That's what I was doing. But anyway. Just other examples, like it includes like eating out all week instead of cooking more whole food based foods, procrastinating, like I just said, when you have everybody know the assignment due at 11:59, people be waiting until like the day of at like 11:51 to turn it in. Missing workouts because you just don't feel like it. All of these things add up, and they result in you missing or a quote unquote failure. Like that's all it is. So obviously in that point of time, you weren't thinking in the long term. You're just thinking, I don't want to do this right now, so it's going to get put off. And then when it's all said and done, your result is trash. So if you think of it in the long term, like, okay, what's going to happen if I procrastinate? I'm going to be worried, sick last minute, and I'm going to freak out, and my life is just going to turn upside down. But if you do it farther away from the due date, you'll reduce stress, you'll probably sleep better, and your grades will be better overall. So if you do it and just like, all right, I'm gonna just do it right now, get out the way, plan ahead. I'm not planning to fail. Just you'll be done with it, and your grade will be better, your life will be better overall, and you could probably make more time for other things that are more important, in my opinion. So let's think of your life as a whole. Will this decision improve my life or make it worse? I'm not saying you gotta overanalyze things and psych yourself out. Like, I'm not saying you can't go out and hang with friends, because obviously I think communities is important and you should make time for that as well. But I'm just saying, your priorities, your aspirations, you missing workouts and you eating out all the time, is that really going to, improve your health or improve your fitness or improve, your athletic performance and your endurance? Probably not at all. So you have to think, okay, how is this going to affect me later down the line? How is this going to help build my character? And how is this going to transfer to my kids later down the line when I teach them how to build character? And I mean, if you're missing workouts and eating out every day, it probably won't end up that way. So, anyway, that was my 5 little tips on how to develop a better mindset. And we have a little Q&A, so I'm gonna go to the questions real quick. I got them on my phone right here. I did a little Instagram poll, obviously. So let's see what the questions are talking about. All right, the first question: what's your favorite way to stay in shape besides running? My favorite way to stay in shape besides running, I would probably say, I'll give you 3. First one is just calorie control, because I'm aware of how much I eat. I'm aware of, the amount of protein I take in, carbs, fat, all of that. I'm aware of all of that. So, I mean, if your calories are in check, you'll be, because I'm not trying to gain weight. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just in a maintenance phase. So I'm trying to support my training for cross country or just running in general. I'm not going to say just running in general, just my daily activity, because I walk a lot. Well, that kind of ties into another one, but I'll save that for a minute. Just my daily activity and my strength training. So I'm trying to, facilitate muscle growth, just support my overall fitness. So, I'll just say making sure my calories are enough to make sure I'm supporting recovery and my, training and all of that. Second one, obviously, I just said it, weight training. It's not necessarily like to burn a bunch of calories or whatever. It's just for muscle growth and muscle hypertrophy. That's my whole goal with that. And, obviously, muscle, I don't know the exact like mechanism or whatever, but I know it helps. It has better health outcomes in the long run, and it actually helps you burn more calories in the long run. But I mean, burning calories. It's not really. I don't really think that's a big of a deal. It's more of how healthy are you? Are you at a healthy body weight? And how's your training going? Are you recovering? Are you getting stronger? Are you progressing? I don't really think calorie burn is really that important. I mean, obviously, thermodynamics. But yeah, I would say weight training. And then the third one, I would say walking. I think walking is very underrated. And if you saw my video, go on a walk with me, like literally like, cause running, let's say I run 5 miles, I'll probably be at like 9 to 10,000 steps after that. So I just fill in the rest of the steps of walking. I'm just on my feet. I think walking, very low impact, and obviously it clears your head. You can listen to audiobooks while you walk. You can listen to music. Because I listened to Faces by Mac Miller earlier. I didn't finish the whole thing, but I listened to it. I use walking like to listen to albums and stuff, because I've been on a big music kick lately. I'm just been listening to old albums. But anyway, I was just letting y'all know. But walking is very underrated. I just think, I told my grandpa this in the car one time. I think if people just walked more and lifted more, people would be and obviously controlled like their calories and what they eat, because calories in, calories out, obviously. People would be way healthier, because you're being active, you're getting cardio in, but you're building muscle, which will promote greater health outcomes in the long run. So yeah, those are my favorite ways to stay in shape in a way. All right, next one, God. It just says God, so I'm gonna just kind of, I guess, give my opinion on God. I think there's a higher power. I think there's something. There gotta be. I mean, I think everybody's here for a reason, and I think there's something, some type of spirit or some being up somewhere. Like, I think something exists, because I mean, I downloaded the Bible app. I listened to the Bible a little bit, and I think the Bible. I think every version of it relates to real life, and you can learn a lot from it. And, I think, I respect people being in their faith, because it gives you guidance and it gives you something to believe in and put hope in, and, guide you along your life. But I think God or some version of just a higher power exists. I believe that. I think something exists that created everything, and I don't think there's necessarily a, like, what you call it, like a destiny. Because when people get into destiny, like what's destined to happen, people kind of think, this is gonna happen this way, and I can't change it. I think people have free will, and you have the will to change your life for the better, and improve, be consistent, and stuff like that, obviously. But I do think some things happen for a reason. I do think that. But I think it's a mix of free will and, things just playing out a certain way. Because sometimes in my life, things have played out a certain way, which I didn't deserve at all, but it just played out. And I'm fully grateful for that. But I think God or a higher power, I think something that's definitely real. Because, I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't. So, yeah, I respect that. And yeah, I think that's real for sure. But the next question and the last question, what's been your biggest challenge taking on cross country? Like I said in previous episodes, I've been training for the 400. When I was training for the 400, I would do 2, 3, maybe 4 mile runs. So I had an aerobic base on me, but I didn't really, start doing long distance workouts until now, obviously. And the mileage didn't get as high until now, obviously. But I would say my biggest challenge, let me think. The one I just thought of is just leaning into, it's just unknown, because unknown territory. So I've never really been in territory like this, but I would say I'm doing pretty well so far because, like I said, I have the aerobic base and I just like the area of long distance running. I feel like it's kind of, I think it's more understood now, but when I first started track, I think a lot of people just thought long distance runner were slow. But, since I've, put myself in that space and I'm in it now, I have to fully disagree because the thing is though that people may not understand, you're obviously not sprinting for like 3.1 miles. But the thing is though, the pace you're holding, that pace compounds over that mileage. You're holding a significant, like a little bit slower pace, but it's even longer than a 400. So that's not easy. I don't think any distance is easy at all if you do it correctly and you're intentional. But I would just say leaning into the unknown, because unknown territory, and I'm just very curious to see how it ends up and very excited to see where it ends up. And I feel like this is more of my lane, but I'd probably just say leaning into the unknown, just unknown territory. And also, I would just say probably the tempo, because I've never really done tempo workouts. And when I started training, like actually doing cross country type workouts, like towards the end of the season for district, because I ran the mile at district, those are harder than they look. Like doing 1K repeats, 600 meter, repeats, mile repeats, 2 by 3 mile tempos. I think those are going to obviously be difficult, but I'm, up for the challenge, and I'm really, really curious to see how it goes. But I think those will be the hardest part, because the easy miles, the thing about the easy miles, some people think they're boring. It's just about just staying in it and just logging miles. That's pretty much it. And the speed workouts, those are that. But I think the hardest thing will probably be the tempo workouts. But we'll see soon. But that's episode 21 of the Indigo Podcast. Just talking about tips on mindset, all things mindset, things like that. Then a little Q&A at the end. If y'all want more Q&As or things on mindset, let me know in the comments. Let me know on Insta. Lil Rascal Donnie on Insta. Put it right there. But that's episode 21, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.